Hey everybody, this is Peter Palmiotti of Unot Studio, and this is Making Comics and Art, episode 110. So just a little things up front. I was going to do a Pimp Your Comics episode where I invite all comic creators to come on, talk about their comics this past Friday, but I've been chasing deadlines. So I rescheduled it twice already, and hopefully it's going to stay put. So it'll be next Saturday. I think I scheduled it 1 p.m. in the afternoon. Most people are available then. So fingers crossed we'll go ahead with that. And coming up this week, Thursday, which is the 22nd, the Global Frequency is going live with their Indiegogo Mavericks, and they'll be on let's see, Red Valkyrie and then Bancroft. So one's at 8 p.m. and one's at 10 p.m. I'm doing this all from memory. I should write shit down. But really looking forward to that. And those guys will be on my channel at some point during their campaign. But I think they're going to blow up. So look forward to that. And what else did I want to mention up front? I'm not working on retro tonight. I'm just going to sketch. I've been meaning to do some, I hate calling it fan art, but that's essentially what it is. I want to draw some popular characters and sell some art, that sort of thing. But things have been going well, and I got 2 new books. Eventually, I'll tell you all about it. I'm just plugging away, working. We had Nefarious drop in earlier, giving us a thumbs up. And so thanks, Nefarious. Appreciate it. And hey, John's in the chat. Sup, guys? Welcome. And yeah. So, guys, welcome. And let's go away. Yeah, there we go. John, let's start with you. Hello, welcome.
Hi, how you doing? Thanks for having us on.
Oh, my pleasure. Want to just give a quick bio of yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's John Durgin. I live here in New Hampshire and live with my wife and 2 kids, 9-month-old puppy. And the story we're going to talk about, our comic book that's currently live on Kickstarter, is actually the main character's named after my son, William. So this is my first adventure into doing a comic book. Joel and I founded Livid Comics, and this will be our first venture into this world here. So, but before that, I mean, I have written short stories and terrible movie scripts for film classes. I've always wanted to be a writer that really specialized on the horror, sci-fi side of things. So it's always just been eating at me to write, and we came together to start doing comics, and I'm pretty excited. So this is really just the start of things.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, we'll go to your Kickstarter page in a little bit. But if you're new to this and this is your first Kickstarter, you're doing pretty damn well. So I'm impressed.
Yeah, thank you.
And we have Joel hanging out in the wilderness. Hello, welcome.
Yeah, man. Hi, Peter. Thanks for having us on tonight, buddy. Yeah, so I'm Joel. I'm also out in the middle of New Hampshire, kind of getting towards Vermont. So, man, I'm out in the woods here. You got no reason to come out here. I'll tell you what. So we're out here. Yeah. So, yeah, a little bit about my background. This is my first, I guess professionally released, you'd call it, comic with John. For the last 10 years, I've been a fine artist, oil painter. So I've been doing that almost exclusively. Had a couple shows in Boston last year, and then with the COVID thing and the galleries were just really slow, I said, well, what the heck, why don't I go back into doing comics? That was my youth, so we ducked back in and partnered up with John. I didn't want to write, so I said, John, write this thing, I'll draw this thing, and here it is. So doing that. artistically, prior to that, I worked in a tattoo parlor for a while doing flash and custom pieces. I never actually slung the ink, but would draw for people when they would come in. And as a kid, I drew things in high school and books and things, tried to sell comics that were just Xerox copies that my mother would make secretly at her office, and I'd staple them together and try to hawk them to whoever the hell would buy them from me. But man, if you raised $18, you could almost buy a Nintendo game back then, so that was cool. So we were pretty pumped about that. So that was about the height of the success back then. But yeah, we're making a go with Livid here, and it's been great and awesome to meet everybody and get this thing going.
Excellent. And we have Vance also in the hangout, in the chat. Welcome, Vance. Working and listening.
Vance?
That's the way to do it.
That's right. I do the same thing, buddy. So yeah, I'm the same way. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, why don't we just go to the Kickstarter page? You guys have to share it out, one of you. My internet sucks, so hopefully
no
it works on your end.
Yeah.
John's good at driving. That's why I work with him.
There you go. He's the driver.
That's right.
Except I always forget to share the audio, so we'll make sure we get that.
It's $5 fine, sir, if you forget the audio again. Yeah. It's $5.
Oh man. Make sure I
love it.
The right one here. Okay. There we go.
All right, let me get that.
Like you said, I mean, it's our first one, and we're very humbled that it's been, doing this well. There's only a couple days left here, but we've been blown away by everyone backing us and supporting us here. So we actually are, is it $100 or? Yeah, just over $100 away from the most recent stretch goal here, which is these high roller poker chips with our Livid Comics logo on them. So we thought it would be cool to we thought it would be cool to do a specific color for each book. Obviously, we'll probably run out of colors eventually, but that way it's a very limited number that get made. So I thought that was kind of a cool idea there. So. And I'm in my updates page, so let me go to the campaign here.
Should we play the trailer just so people know what the heck we're about? And...
If Peter's cool with that, I'll play it. But
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a 90-second trailer here, so I'll go ahead and hit play now, and it'll explain it better than I probably could. So. Yeah.
Excellent.
So, yeah, I always love that when it just switches over from the Christmas happy, joyful experience to that banger music there. So, yeah. I make the joke. I made the joke that that could explain it better than I could. I don't know if other creators run into this, but I love writing the story and doing the scripts and all that. But like actually doing the elevator pitch or the blurb. Like I'm like, am I blabbering too much? Am I not saying enough? Like, am I giving too much away? Like, I don't know. I guess there's a reason a lot of people hire that out, but
Yeah, that's a strange thing. I've been on shows that are 3 hours long to explain this book, and I've been on radio spots live that are 4 minutes long. And it's like, oh God, how am I going to fit all this in 4 minutes? So yeah, I totally understand. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, everybody here seems impressed by the trailer. So
Well, so there's a little story on the trailer. That's our buddy Scotty out in LA, and he does most of the trailers that you see for major motion picture movies. So if you're familiar with the Wonder Woman 84 trailer, that was kind of some recent work. He didn't do the movie, but he did the trailer. So don't hate him for the film, but love him for the trailer.
Right.
So there you go. Yeah. So yeah, he does. I just had I was blessed to go to I went to high school with that kid, so I just got lucky that we just stayed friends, through our adulthood. And I just approached him with this and said, "Hey man, how can you make a 2D thing come to life on a trailer?" He's like, "Oh yeah, sure." And we told him basically what he wanted. He was a one-hit wonder and just put this thing out first attempt. We're like, "Yep, that's it." So there it was. So no edits or anything. Bam, nailed it.
Literally all I did, I found the 2 songs and I explained to him kind of what I pictured in my head with it cutting like that. But he wrote up the cards with the text. He put all the pieces together and he sent it to us. He's like, just let me know what you guys want changed. And we're like, nothing. I think this is perfect. So.
Yeah, I mean that's awesome. That's and not all movie trailers are good. So this guy seems to know what he's doing now.
Yeah, I guess there's like some Oscars or awards that they give out for just trailers, and he's won that. I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing, and he did get one. So good job, Scott. Yeah, he's a good kid.
Yeah,
I love Scott. He's a good dude. He's a solid dude. So much love to Scotty.
So you want to go through the tiers and stuff?
Sure. I added a few blurbs in from a few of the reviews we got back. We positive reviews so far, which is awesome. We're super excited about that. So this blurb here came from superseriouscomics.com. Ho ho holy crap, Santa. Yule offers an ingenious twist on Christmas mythology, exploring a new world of fantasy and horror with a mix of dark and playful storytelling. And then later in the review said, I love the concept behind Yule and the way it makes use of traditional Christmas mythology, but gives a terrific horror fantasy twist. And then we had the weekly poll show, which is a YouTube show that they loved it. They did a little video review up on it. So we talked about coming of age story and all that. So we love it. I mean, if there's any other reviewers that listen to, I mean, we're happy to send a digital copy over and to get a review. We want more reviews. So yeah, I can pull up the tiers here. So this is just some of the art example here. This is inside the antique shop where he finds the cube, which the cube is known as the Kasi. So the cube, which the trailer doesn't really explain it there, and we try to keep it vague there, but this cube called the Kasi was actually once used by Santa Claus to suspend time so he could deliver gifts around the world in a single night. So Will's just out Christmas shopping for his dad in the antique shop and finds it on the junk shelf for $1. So he picks it up and he has no idea what it does. He just thinks it looks cool. So later on, he triggers it in a fit of rage, and not only can it suspend time, but it can also travel through time and do dimension traveling and so forth. So when he triggers it, he ends up teleporting himself to this unknown land, which is this realm between his home and the North Pole. And that's where this page is right here. This is when he wakes up in this field of snow and has no idea where he is. And this is really where the book starts to get dark. Joel can talk to the art, how the first half was really a lot brighter, but it definitely takes on a darker tone for the rest of the book from there. So do you want me to go right to the tiers here versus, just a...
Whatever you want to cover,
Sure. Yeah, so this right here is the Kickstarter exclusive cover variant. So if you do a $25 and up purchase on our Kickstarter, which we'll see in the tiers here in a second, this is the cover that you'll get versus the standard cover, which that was on the trailer, but I don't think it's in here. So this is going to be limited. I mean, we're only going to print this once for the Kickstarter. We're not going to do multiple prints of this particular cover. And okay, yeah, there we go. This is the standard cover right here. It's a little small because of the icon there, but just to give you an idea. So tiers, pretty standard as far as this first tier here. It's just a digital copy for $5. So we'll send you the PDF of the book there. Tier 2 for $10 is the PDF plus the standard copy there, the normal cover there. And then tier 2.5. I didn't even see this yet, Joel. Oh man, this is great.
Do you want to play that? Yeah, play that because that's cool. If that'll play.
Yeah, yeah. There's no audio, right? Yeah, it's just.
No, there's no audio. I don't believe so, unless it's like my kids yelling in the background, which is plausible. This is the phosphorescent black light cover, right?
Yeah.
So these come hand painted. We have to hand paint this to pull that off, right? It's pretty cool.
I love these things, and we're only doing 20 of them. It's $20. We made 20. We've sold I think a couple of them already, I believe. But that. I don't know. That's my favorite, to be honest. I love that. It's just so cool because if someone just had it on their shelf, you wouldn't even see it. And then you take the black light and you see Joel's signature there, and all of a sudden the cube's lighting up, and it's just, I think it's super cool. So that's tier 2.5. Tier 3, it jumps up here to that Kickstarter exclusive cover with the sleigh there, the digital copy, the trade card, which this is not the actual logo. I'll show you that here in a moment. And then stickers, which
I do have a sticker. Yeah.
You got one handy?
Yeah, I'm pulling it out here. Yeah. There you go. So it's got the holographic kind of cool die cut, right? Yeah, not too big and obnoxious. Sometimes you get some huge stickers, so this thing will fit anywhere. Fit right on your bumper.
or as my daughter would try on the front window of my house where I wouldn't be able to get it off. So,
dude, that's the worst. Like people, they give you kids stickers as gifts. They don't have kids. It's like they give you like these 300 sticker sheets, and next thing you know, you're doing that all day. It's peeling stickers off your furniture. Yeah, that's real.
I've been trying to get an Elsa sticker off my front window for months. It's still got a little. I keep trying to like scrub it off. So. But so that's the $25 tier. That's been the most popular, which I just from researching Kickstarter, I know that's pretty standard. That just that dollar mark and what you get with it can really drive the numbers up there.
But the stretch goals on that, right, for the 25 plus, man, are off the chain. Yeah, we'll get into that in a second. For 25, you get like when you get that sushi boat at the Japanese restaurant, the whole boat comes out. That's like what our stretch goal tier is going to be, like full of stuff. So we'll talk about that in a second.
Tier 4 bumps up a bit here. So you get the exclusive cover again, the digital. You actually will get the exclusive poster, which is behind me here on the wall. So
16 by 20. It's hard to get scale.
Yeah, and then again the trade card, the stickers, etc. So, and then moving on down here to the $100 tier. Again, everything that you saw above plus the hat and T-shirt, which Joel's rocking the hat. He's different T-shirt he's rocking there, but representing there. So
the trucker hat, right? There's a trucker hat.
Yeah.
And I got a big head, so it just kind of floats up there. So I'm like Sputnik over here, flying around the orbit.
Tier 6, everything from the above tier, but also includes original signed sketch from Joel as well. So, and that's obviously going to be a limited number there because the $150 tiers are not everyone can afford them. So that's going to be very limited as far as the number of sketches Joel's given out there. So add some value there. Tier 7 is again everything from the above tier besides the sketch, but then it instead includes the original pencil copy of a page by Joel, signed on comic book bristleboard. So that's pretty cool there.
Just upped his pledge.
Nice. Yeah, that's Cheehawk, man. He's got a good thing going too. His Bubba Patrol. So thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Excellent.
awesome. Tier 8. This is obviously going to be on the higher end, but you could be in upcoming issues of Yule. We say issues plural because we talked on some shows before where you'll have this tier, this reward tier, where people will offer to put you in a book, but it could only be for a panel or two, and we've talked about, we could, in theory, have the face of someone on one of the future main characters, so they would be a reoccurring face in our books. So that was the thought there. Yeah, we didn't want to just have them in a single panel. So
could even get your own spin-off if it kicks ass. It could be. Right? So, it's plausible.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's the final tier there. Then we get down into stretch goals, which we've unlocked quite a few. So the first one we unlocked was this Livid Comics iron-on patch, and they look super cool. That's for anyone $10 and up is getting that. That's a 2x3 inch iron-on patch there, and so that's unlocked. The $2,000 goal was a Livid Comics yo-yo, which, as Joel will say, it's been a hit with all the kids. My son, his kids, they're pretty amped up about this. So, and I give Joel credit. This was his idea, but I think it's super important when you have a book like this, a series that's really family focused. It's a horror book, but it's family friendly. There's no gore and profanity and all that. So it's a good idea to have some stretch goal rewards that the kids would like, because in theory we want them reading this book too. So so that is unlocked. That's for $25 and above for the yo-yos there. Then we go down to the $2,500 stretch goal, which this is the image of the trade card, by the way. So this is what you'll see on the trade card as well. But this is the Livid Comics air freshener, and it's I forget the scent. So
I got it, sir. It's black ice. Black like our soul, icy like our heart. Right. That's it. Everybody loves the black ice, except for New England driving.
True.
True.
This image also gives a little bit of spoilers for book 2, because book 1, it's really just Will by himself for most of the book once he gets into this realm. And this creature up here on the top left, that's, you saw that in the trailer there briefly. But most of these characters are not seen until book 2. So that mean-looking dude to the left of him is the main villain of the series. His name is Ragnar. So I can't wait for him to be involved. And
nice.
Then we have the female elf down there, Vega. Again, she's not in it till issue 2. And the cool-looking monster characters below and to his Will's right are the henchmen to Ragnar. And we have some pretty cool backstories planned for them as well. That elf there with the weapon, he's the main protagonist elf. His name is Einar, and there's a lot of backstory with him in the Kasi Cube and all that. So pretty excited for the whole story to flesh out there. But Joel, I don't know if you want to tell you. So obviously this was inspired by the Drew Struzan movie posters there.
Yep, this is my homage to Drew Struzan, my attempt at that. It's a hard act to follow, though, but do what we can do, right? So there you go. Yeah. He did like the Indiana Jones and Star Wars, people that don't know, right? All those posters that we know and love as kids, all that 80s stuff.
Yeah, basically any movie poster from
Goonies. Yeah, great. Stuff's awesome.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. Sad he retired. That was like its own genre, man. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's unlocked, and then 3,000. When we unlock that, this is where you get the most bang for your buck right here. Again, this comes on the $25 and above, tier, but basically anyone that backs us at $25 or more is getting a second copy of the book thrown in, but with this horizontal cover variant. So they're getting two books, or two different covers of the same book. So, and again, just like the sleigh cover, that's exclusive to Kickstarter, this will never be printed again. So this is going to be a limited edition. However many $25 backers we get, that's all we're going to print. And
Nice.
this one does show the creature a bit more there. So we call them, well, we used to call them smoke dragons, but they are the keepers of the realm. So they protect the realm that Will finds himself in, and that's really where the book takes off there and gets the story going. So, and then the next one, which we're very close to hitting, is that high roller poker chip that we mentioned. So.
I don't think I've ever seen one in real life. I'm not that high a roller when I go to the casino. I think they give those to you at $5,000. So each one of those is like $5,000 when you're at the casino. It's just crazy. I've had some $500 ones, which that wasn't money I put in. It's money I won. I was like, damn, I did pretty well. They had like holograms on them and stuff. Yeah, that was a good night. It was fun. I played Caribbean Stud for about 13 hours on $40 and walked away with about $3,700. So yeah, we did well.
I'd get anxiety if I had a $5,000 chip in my hand.
Right?
Going to the checkout.
Dude, you go to some of those rooms and it's a 10,000 minimum. You see those guys throwing down hard, like just each roll $10,000, just ripping.
Good.
Yeah.
So that's very close, and again, that'll be $25 and above. So just to recap, so the $25 backers and up, they're going to get everything we just talked about, assuming we hit this one, which I think we will. So they're going to get that extra cover, the horizontal cover there. They're going to get this poker chip if we hit 3,500. They'll get the air freshener, the yo-yo, the iron-on patch. I think I got them all.
Probably be a 4,000 something. If we might be close.
Yeah, and we've got some ideas there if we need to unlock that. So, so add-ons. A lot of pretty much anything here. You'd be able to add on outside of those, the sketches from Joel. But yeah, so that's the tiers.
Excellent. And it's only hours away from finishing off, right? How many hours again? Like 36 or something?
Wednesday at 10 a.m. So
Tuesday at 10 a.m. Sir.
Tuesday. Sorry, geez.
Tuesday.
I don't know why I said Wednesday. Yeah. So
unless you're time traveling like Will, then I don't
know. So if people aren't watching live and to watch it later, go check out. I put the link below the video for you to go to, and also your link tree with a bunch of your links, your YouTube, and various other links. So. Perfect. 4K stretch goal is a skeleton.
We had John on our show on Friday, and he suggested that Joel gives himself a skullet if we hit 4K, but and do it live on camera. So.
I said 10K. Hey, don't sell me short, dude. I said 10K. 10K. Maybe we'll do like Livid the flamethrower, like on on Spaceballs. Everybody gets a flamethrower at 4K. Yeah. Which would just be a Bic lighter and a can of hairspray. Honestly, that's about it.
Right. That's all you need.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly 60 hours. You're so close. 3,400. You're doing amazing, and it's a great looking project. Who did your logo? Was that you, John?
All the art.
Yeah.
All the art's Joel.
I did everything you see, so that's all. We're a two-man show, man. So all the art, the lettering, everything, the Livid logos, everything you see visually, that's all from this camp over here. So it's my fault. Yeah. I had a little bit of background in graphic design. We wanted this. The Yule name is like Slovakian, Norwegian, ancient kind of title, right? So I wanted that kind of font and that look to it too, where it has that. And there's a little bit of reason behind the name. We talked on a couple other shows, but like my kids are starting to read and write and wanted something short and simple because they can usually bang out 3 letters, right? They can write JOL. So the kids were marketing this, 7 and up. And John will talk to it a little bit. It's more like kind of like Harry Potter, where it's dark, but there's, it's still kid accessible. So we wanted that, and then, the name was just for Christmas, like Yule, like Yule log, Yuletide, that kind of thing. So that's how you think of it there. But that was kind of it.
Right.
Yeah.
And the lettering, it looks like a little character in itself,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like a little face. Yeah, I see that. Yeah. I was able to hide my my shaky hand by doing the sketchy edges around the letters too. So.
Oh, that adds to it. I'm glad you did that.
That's my 3rd cup of coffee. Like just getting at that, right? It's like, oh, it looks cool. I could do metal band logos like that too, like crazy. That sketch, like that scratchy art.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
So are your plans to only do Kickstarter, and that's like the only way they'll be able to get a copy? Like, because you're saying like some of the covers are exclusive, so will be available elsewhere eventually down the line.
That's the goal. Yeah. We're going to sell them on lividcomics.com. We're looking to get them on Amazon once we have them in hand. We want to get into some LCS, some local comic shops, which we've talked to some. And Joel, had a good idea to talk to local stores too. Not just comic shops, but convenience stores, gas stations, grocery stores, and try to bring back some of that. Experience we had as a kid where you see the spinner rack in the stores, get it in these smaller little shops, mom and pop shops. So,
Yeah,
I missed that. I got kids that, when they were my age when I was doing that stuff, not to date myself, but 35 years ago, whatever. So, I want to bring that back. And that was kind of the idea with Livid too, is maybe work with either a distribution company or do our own deal where we pick up other indie titles and we just put together a cool rack. And just if a store is willing to let us, have a 2-foot by 2-foot floor space, put a spinner rack there with just cool indie titles and bring them up in the New England area, I think it would be pretty rad. So kids can go back in and experience that like when we were kids. You could go get that and baseball cards and crappy gum and do all that experience, with their parents now, right? So kind of be cool to bring that back.
Yeah. The first place, I just wanted to say, the first place that I actually came across comic books was at a barbershop. So that's a good idea.
And I got some friends that own barbershops. That's a good idea. Yeah, I'll have to hit those guys up. Send them some. Go. And libraries too. Like I'm big on the library, so I take my kids to the local library. So we're thinking about just giving them some issues, or this is a 5-story arc. So once that's done, we're going to try to bind it into a hardcover book or trade paperback and give that to local libraries. Just send them like 3 copies. Like, here, you guys can just have this, right? Because I'm big on supporting literacy with kids and writing and stuff like that. It's really important. So that's something that's on our radar also.
Definitely.
Yeah, and we've talked. We have some plans to try to get national distribution too. So that'll be good. We were talking about it. I don't recall what show we were on, but we were talking about how, especially in New England, like there's just no indie comic exposure in these comic shops. There's hardly any, at least in our area. The shops I go in, I don't see any. So we definitely want to try to bring that to New England here. So I know nationally there's a lot of stores that will support it quite a bit more, but we definitely want to get exposure up here in these stores.
Yeah. I wonder like how stores are doing since pandemic and all that. It's like I'm in a small town in Kentucky now, and there's no store in this town, but like, I'm a little over an hour from Louisville, which is the biggest place in Kentucky. And they had 3 stores. I haven't been there lately, but I don't know what the situation is currently.
I mean, up here in we're in an area where things aren't really considered that bad, so things are pretty much back to normal up here. I mean, I don't know if it'll ever be normal up, but it's we can go. When I've been to my shop, it's been fairly busy. We have two shops in my town, and they both have been pretty steady when I went in. So that's a good sign.
Yeah, I go down to another town a little bit south of John's area, and you see a lot of more like the gaming thing is really big, right? So that brings in a lot of audience. They have like 2 aisles of like Funko Pop. I mean, crazy. The back issues is a little lacking. I like old stuff. I'm like a big golden silver age horror guy, so I'm looking. I don't even care about condition, man. I'll buy Ratted Out ones. I just love that stuff. So I go there looking for that kind of stuff, and they don't have much. Their back issues are stuff that came out in like 2020, that kind of thing. So it's like, oh, okay, I mean, and that's cool because I do read some new titles and I need some holes filled and things. But yeah, but
Right.
I mean, their books look strong. They have a great selection of graphic novels and hardcover is fantastic there. That's a huge section of their store. It's like the 2 corner back walls are just loaded with that stuff. So must be some demand for that there, which is cool. I think that's another popular thing too is, people will pick up, 5, 6, 10 book bundle like that versus trying to find each individual issue. Because it's hard to get to the store every month and you miss an issue, right? Then it's a problem. So I feel that.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's also it's a trust thing. There's millions of us individual creators out there doing our own books, but like a lot of them only do the first issue and then things fall apart and you never see a second issue. So when things are collected, it's like, oh, okay, they're serious and they made it happen regardless, and more confidence in that.
Yeah, and we did some pre-orders of a collector's edition before we were halfway done the book. Friends, family, and a lot of Joel's art fans. We sold out of that, which really helped get things headed in the right direction. So we set the goal super low with our Kickstarter with the thought that we want to make sure we hit that. So that's really was paying for all of the stretch goal rewards, paying for some of these extra prints we're going to need to run. But the main shipment's going to be in Joel's driveway here in a couple of days, which is exciting. So
easy for you.
Yeah, I already told my wife that I'll probably be spending a day there getting things boxed or packaged up with you. So but yeah, so really, we set the goal low. The thought was, this is not just about supporting Yule, but it's about supporting Livid Comics in future issues. So the fact that we've done so well is really guaranteeing that we're going to be able to move forward with the whole series. We actually have other titles in the work too. So we're moving faster than I would have expected. I mean, as far as expanding different titles, working with different creators, and it's been like jumping on the back of a rocket and just holding on for dear life, it seems like.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
We were expecting like maybe 30 people would be into it. We're like, oh, cool, we'll sell 30 books, right? And we'll be in the hole. But at least we did it, right? It was cool. But then all of a sudden it was like, oh, okay, now I got to get a little more serious about this, right? So here we are.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
It's all been such a great experience, and I couldn't be any happier with how it's all gone. Between how well we've done with sales, with the indie networking is awesome. We've had such great experience, like working with people and people like yourself that are kind enough to let first-time creators on their show and talk about their stuff. That's just huge. So and we're trying to return the favor too. I mean, we started a podcast of our own, and it was not intentional. Joel and I did it. We did a live Facebook Q&A, and we had a couple hundred views on it. So we're like, wow, what the heck? Let's do it again the next week. And then we did it again, and then Joel just posted out in some of these groups we're in, just said, hey, any other creators want to come on and talk about their stuff? And we just got so many people reaching out, and we were like, okay, this is a podcast now. This isn't just some weird Q&A. So So we've done three shows now, two official
officially,
shows.
officially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so we want to help other indie creators get on and show their stuff as well. And then somehow we landed Joe Bennett for Wednesday night, which blew our minds.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's we are very humbled that he's willing to come on and talk with us, and it's gonna be our third ever show, and we have, in my eyes, one of the best artists out there right now, working. So, but I think the thought there is too, initially we talked about having indie creators on, but we also want to have some mainstream names on as well, not only because we can talk to them about how they came up and, how, when they were in our shoes, how things were going and what they did and so forth, but also if you get those names on your show, that's going to give you more exposure to a bigger market, and then more people will watch these indie creators on the other episodes is the idea there. So I just think it's a win-win.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, definitely. Man, I did a Facebook Live not too long ago, and it's been a long time since I did one. And I got like 15 views, 20 views.
It's
like,
so weird, man. It's so weird,
It's like I used to, like I never did it regularly, but I used to get like 100, 150 views, like for nothing. And yeah, the algorithm has changed, and it's weird.
Yeah.
Like one day things can work, and the other day nobody sees you at all. And it's like,
don't get us started on the Facebook algorithm stuff.
Yeah, that's my next T-shirt. It's going to say like F ... algorithms. Like that's going to be our Livid T. That's been the battle with these campaigns, man. And like we see it with a lot of other indie creators, and they have fantastic projects and fantastic campaigns, but the damn Facebook's not showing anybody your stuff. And one of the things, I mean, it kind of feels a little dirty to do it, but what worked for us well was actually just tagging people on our posts. And like some people are into that, and a lot of people aren't into that. Personally, I don't mind it because I want to see stuff, and I'd rather have 75 people show me cool things. Maybe I like 10 of it, but at least I saw the 10, because if they didn't tag me, I'd see 0. So I'm cool with that personally. But some people are like, no, dude, don't tag me on that thing. It's like, who cares? Just remove your tag and move on. Like if you don't like.
Yeah.
But yeah, the algorithms are a nightmare. I read that only 5.2% of your posts are shown to your audience. So if you have 1,000 people, 52 of them are seeing that post, that's disgusting in my opinion. That's gross.
Yeah. It's it's all a necessary evil that we're across the board on everything, but it's really your friends and your fans that help you get the word out and help you, like shows like mine and others. How many shows you've been on promoting your book right now?
12, 15? 13. Yeah, 15. I don't even know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Awesome. Like everyone's been so kind. Like I've talked to some creators that are like, "How do you even get on a show?" Like I haven't been able to, and I'm like, I don't think we're doing anything special. Like we're just reaching out to people and just showing them our stuff, and it's been awesome.
The bribes really help. So
it's coming in the mail, sir. It's in the mail tomorrow. So. I can't mail on a weekend. We were on. We got local television like right out of the jump. Like, oh my gosh, we had like a major segment on ABC, like on their big news, like their 7 p.m. specialty news hour that they do. I'm like, okay, like whatever. So which is strange. I didn't know that was coming. They're just, I think they were emailing or texting me one day, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like how did you find me?
Joel texted me. He's like, hey, you want to be on an interview on ABC to talk about the comic? And I was like, what? we were like a couple pages into this thing. I look back and I cringe on that video. Like I hadn't talked about the story with anyone yet. This was literally the first time I had talked about it on camera, and it was on TV. And I'm like, oh, I can't even stand going back and watching that clip now. But
yeah, Vance is saying hashtag everything. Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah.
The short words.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It sucks we have to do that, man. I just wish that they would just show you their stuff. It'd be cool if somebody comes along and just develops a social media platform that kicks ass and just shows you everything, like versus what they think you want to see or what people are paying to be seen. It's a pain in the ass. So yeah, it's a battle.
And that's the thing is, like, we initially were focused on our Facebook group, and we were just trying to build up the followers there, which we did really well with. But now we're focusing more on the other social media platforms, Instagram and Twitter, and we're trying to build those up. So if only a handful of people are seeing it on each platform, at least hopefully they're different people, so that'll expand the viewers, But
yeah.
I think last week we had 12 followers on Twitter, and now we're up to 300 something, which I've been trying to grind on the Twitter side of things, to get a bigger following. But
yeah, I mean, I've been on Twitter forever. I'm still trying to grow it. It's one of my cats.
Nice. Yeah, I thought that was like a smudge, like you use it for your blending.
You could take the tail and blend.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like a smudge stick. Rub that thing in there. Yeah.
I'm sure
It's actually a white.
mind.
It's a white cat, right? And you just been using it to smudge out. Yep. Yeah, it's tough, man. I think Twitter is one of the hardest. That's a tough one too. It seems like it's really popular in like major cities, right? So if you're Boston based, LA based, like it seems like you pick up a lot of audience that way. But yeah, it's always been a mystery. And people always just want to fight each other on there. That's what I found a lot of times. So if I want to work on my argument skills, I might pop into Twitter just to flex my muscle a little bit to see if I still got some of my old debate class skills from high school. See if I can throw that in there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just to see if I can.
Well, I won't do that with the Livid Comics Twitter handle, I promise. I'll keep it professional.
Well, you never know. I mean, some of the stuff going on these days, like, right? Seems like it's by design to try to incite people for, I don't know, marketing, I guess, right? Some of the things that are out there seems really interesting.
Well, at least they can't go back into Livid Comics Twitter history, and like if we become big someday, they won't be able to go back and be like, oh, you're done.
Well, I'm not canceling myself, so.
No, right? We literally just started this Twitter account in February and like had 12 viewers for the first 5 months because we hardly touched the account. So, but yeah, that's the thing. We're just trying to grow all of those platforms, and I have yet to really dive into TikTok. I don't understand it too well, but it's apparently something we need to focus on there too. So.
It seems, I'm not on it myself on TikTok, but it seems to be doing well for people. Unfortunately, it's like every TikTok video I see that's comic related is just, it's not about comics. It's not about the book. It's not, I guess it's aimed as kids, so they get it, whatever,
I don't know. I think it would be.
I want to be inspired. I want to be,
Yeah, exactly. Like I know like they have a green screen feature, and I know there's a way to do this, but I have no idea how to like have, Joel or I talking about the comic, and then have, the Kasi, the cube there light up, and all of a sudden the background changed to being in the realm. Something like cool like that that's interactive with the actual book, but. I was messing around with the green screen, and my wife was looking at me like I had 3 heads because I'm sitting on the couch like trying to figure out what I'm doing.
Yeah, and I look at it too, like I'm making making social media content, or I'm making panels, right? So I mean, we're working on book 2, so sometimes I got to put that stuff down and just be like, hey man, like, oh god, I got to get back to the book. I just spent an hour like farting around on social media, like putting up stupid stuff. I was like, I got a book to finish up the art on. So yeah, we're about halfway through book 2 also for penciling. So we're moving right along with that. So that's cool. Yeah, I'll be glad when that's done. So that's always get the pencils done, right? That's a big thing.
Yeah. Do you plan to jump into issue 2 later this year for crowdfunding?
Probably. Right.
Probably.
Yeah. I think.
Well, because the thing is. Oh, sorry. I was gonna say we have 2 books that we're working on simultaneously. So Joel's doing Yule 2. We're working with another artist on a second title. So we have a con coming up in September here, and we want Yule 1, Yule 2, and it's called Deadball. We want issue 1 of that all on our table. So obviously we can't really run 2 crowdfunding campaigns at the same time for 2 different books. You can't even do that on Kickstarter, but. So we may have to do it on one and not on the other, but we'll see. There might be some type of tier that can get you both too. So
We might go
we'll
to
see.
Indiegogo or something too, right? So
Yeah,
we
yeah,
can
yeah. We
spread
can do
out
that.
platform, do
Yeah.
something like that just to get both out there. But yeah, I was just thinking how funny it is how like Norwegian and I don't know whatever Icelandic Yule is, and then Deadball is so Americana because it's about a baseball player. Like we went from like one extreme to the other. We're in like the
Yeah.
Viking world and this I don't know whatever. And then we're into like this Americanized baseball, and that's a cool story. It takes place in like 1910. So this John, you want to tell the story a little bit because it's your baby. So
Yeah, it's a lot darker than Yule. It's Yule is family friendly horror. Deadball is not. It's
it's
more
16
mature.
plus, maybe.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So it follows. Well, actually, and the quick backstory to that too is so I had written up this outline for a baseball story without even talking to Joel, and it was taking place in current time baseball, but I won't bore with the outline to it because we didn't end up doing it. But I Joel came to me and was like, I want to do a story about a baseball player. I just called it Deadball, and have it take place during the Deadball era. And I was like, are you serious? Like, I actually wrote a baseball outline, and we started talking, and basically all I did was I took my outline and I put it in the 1910 time frame, and then I switched up the villain to fit the time frame because one of the other things he said was it'd be cool to have some carnies in there too. So. But it was so cool how like we both were thinking a baseball comic without even talking to each other, and it just kind of came to be as our next title. So but it
Nice.
follows a baseball player in the early 1900s. He has his career cut short by gruesome injury. He's feeling down in the dumps. He gets in an argument with his wife and leaves the house drunk with his flask and cane, and just heads down to the ballpark and is just sitting there on the pitcher's mound feeling sorry for himself, and looks across the street and sees that the carnival's in town. So he just walks over there, not thinking anything of it, and he ends up in in a magic show tent. Well, the magician is the owner of the carnival, and he is very evil. He has supernatural abilities, but he ends up offering to heal the baseball player. His name's Ted, for a future return favor. So it's like a deal with the devil situation, right? So
Right.
he heals Ted, and we don't know what that future return favor is yet because Ted is desperate to provide for his family, just says yes and agrees to it without even knowing. But long story short, deal with the devil situation. It's they come for their return favor in the future after his career's over, and I kind of explain it as a revenge horror type story. So without giving too much away as to why it's a revenge story, but book one, I can't wait. I mean, it starts off with a bang. There's going to be alternating from the end of his playing career back to his playing career and vice versa. So I'm really excited about the page outlines as far as the transitions from current time to past time and back and forth, and it's going to be a cool story. So we're working with artist Rogerio Rios, who just recently drew the Heel Turn comic, which is also on Kickstarter right now, and we love his style there, and it's a good fit for the book. So we're looking to get that out for September. Again, we want it on the table at the con, so he's already working on it. He's on the second or third page already. So
I will be coloring that.
Cool.
We're not drawing it. I'm coloring it and lettering it, so I'll have some hand in it.
Right. Excellent. Excellent. Will all Livid titles be horror?
I mean, if I'm writing, it's probably going to have, some horror element. I always wanted to be a horror novelist, so that's just my passion.
Yeah.
There may be different elements to it or different, levels that will take it as far as the type of horror, but we are looking to specialize in suspense, sci-fi, fantasy, horror, a mix. I think it'll be a lot of our titles are going to be cross genre. So, but
Yeah,
anything I write. it's going to have that.
Yeah, I'm a big EC Comics fan, so that whole like true crime, weird science, Tales from the Crypt, Haunt of Fear, like anything like that's in that I don't know supernatural
Absolutely.
realm. Yeah, that stuff all plays for us, and we are interested in connecting with other indie creators. So if they have something that's in those genres, but they say, "Hey, I just need some help," maybe it's just needing some money to get something printed or up off the ground. Like that's something that we want to talk to those people and hear about that. So that's part of what we do at Livid is we can help those people that need to get the push or the help to get over that next gap, because that does happen, right? So we've all been there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So John says a lot of people run campaigns on both IGG and Kickstarter at the same book with exclusive for each campaign. Yeah, like once you do a successful Kickstarter, you can port it over to Indiegogo no problem and just do a campaign there, and a lot of people do that or do the opposite, like start on Indiegogo then go to Kickstarter. I've seen some that do consecutive, at the same time. They do both. It's all according to what your individual likes are, of course.
Yeah. I think, well, at least with a lot of our personal backers, our friends, family, Joel's, our fans, etc. I think this is the first time a lot of them have even heard of Kickstarter, so there's been some confusion. People wanted us to walk them through how to place an order and all that. And I don't know. I mean, I like the idea, but I can't even imagine trying to explain Indiegogo and Kickstarter at the same time, or once Kickstarter ends, going back to these same people in our Facebook group and being like, "All right, time for Indiegogo now, guys. Let's go." But in that situation, if we did that, I think we'd be almost fully dependent on just random backers at that point for Indiegogo, which I guess when they have flexible goals, so in a way that's probably fine. You don't have to hit a set number necessarily, but I don't know. I think with Joel and I, we're ready to hit the ground running here. We want, once this Kickstarter is done, we can really we want to focus on the con coming up and make sure we get everything ready for that, but just really get to work on these books until we get ready to launch our next one. So I think that's where we're at mentally. It's been a draining 30 days.
Yeah.
I bet, man. It's like, I've been part of crowdfunders and I did a few of my own, and yeah, it's totally that. And like, I'm just impressed, like, out of the darkness you guys came and you're doing so good and you got a great looking book, and, it's just, what you're doing, and I don't see that in a lot of sort of new creators, and so I think you're gonna be something much bigger than you are at the moment in a short amount of time.
Yeah, I appreciate that. A lot of it is work, man. You got to put in the work, right? That's a big thing. Is like I always liken it to like that. It's like a table saw on in your shop that you can't unplug. This thing is just screaming in my head all the time. Like, go do something for this. Go do something for the book. Work the book. Work the book. And it's that passion, right? You got to have the passion, and you got to have the enthusiasm too, right? If you just throw up a campaign and you don't talk about it and you don't work it, well, you're going to see that what that does for you. But there's a lot of people that want to do this as a hobby, but I mean, this is at my core, man. This is like, I got to do something artistic every single day. Drives my wife crazy, but she's very supportive, so God bless her. but I have to get that out of me. That's just who I am. Some people go to the gym every day. That's their jam. Like for me, it's art. I have to create. I have to do something. So it's just a natural extension of who I am and what I'm looking to do. So it was cool to come back to comics. I mean, in my teens, I had portfolio scholarship, go to Savannah College of Art and Design for sequential art. And then like most jerk 20-year-olds, I chased money. Instead, I started doing an auto salvage business. So I did that for 12 years and didn't touch art at all, so it was interesting. But, and just real quick on my past, I was in a hardcore metal band back in the 90s, right? And we were touring the country and things. So I was a drummer in a band called Strike 3. And So I would talk to a guy like you, Peter, in Kentucky and say, hey, man, get us a show in Louisville and I'll hook you up here in like Boston. And like we'd trade out shows, right? And or like, send me your album, I'll send you mine. And that's exactly what it is like now in the indie comics world too. It's such a similarity. It's so cool. It's like, oh my gosh, this same type of like, brotherhood, I guess, for lack of a better word, is still going on. But now it's in indie comics because that scene, the indie rock scene is still out there. It's not as big as it was. I mean, you used to go out on a Wednesday night and there'd be 300 or 400 kids at a local bar. I say bar, but coffee shop, whatever you want to call it. And you don't see that anymore because I think a lot of people are getting their music, digitally online. People are working collaboratively through things like StreamYard or other avenues, right? So that was a magical time, and I feel that in the indie comic world right now, and I hope other people feel that. And honestly, man, we might be really into something right now that maybe once 20 years removed from now, people look back and go, "Oh my God, that was a super cool time," and I didn't realize how cool it was when I was in that. Because I look at that music scene that way retrospectively now. And I'm like, oh, that was so cool that I got to help be a part of that scene. And we really need to be appreciative of what we're doing here with each other too. That's a big thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that's totally what I'm seeing. And it's just growing, and I'm becoming more and more aware of books I didn't even hear of last week. It's like, where are all these books coming from? Where are all these creators coming from? It's like I can't keep track anymore.
Yeah, right. It's so cool.
It's been rough on my wallet, but because again I had been on Kickstarter once or twice before, but I obviously had to research it when we were going to be launching something, and next thing I know, I'm backing almost 20 campaigns in the past 3 or 4 months, and I'm like, man, I got to slow down. This is, and now we've started doing our show, and every time we talk with a guest, I end up like hearing their story, and I'm like, how can I not back this? This is great, But so it's. Yeah. My wife's like, are you even reading these things? Like, are you gonna have time to read all these? It's just a stack just building up. I'm like, someday I'll be able to read them all. But
I tell my wife it's for the future estate sale. I'm like, hon, just trust me. When I'm dead and you get to sell all my crap, you're gonna make some money, hon. Like, just trust me. I gotta write notes on the back of why it's important. Like, yeah. Don't just give this away for a quarter. I know it says 25 cents on the cover, but this is an important issue because, right? Yeah.
I made a joke earlier.
There's not going to be paper in the future,
so right?
The paper alone will be worth money.
Be a Ray Bradbury situation, right? He's going to be burning all the books. I made a joke a few minutes ago that the last 30 days have been draining, but I've loved every second of it. So I'm not trying to sound like it's a complaint, because this is not a second job to me. This is what I want to do, So Joel and I are up to 1, 2 in the morning sometimes texting about the book or about Livid Comics, and it's like I don't know. It's what I've always wanted to do is write, and I was in the comics as a kid, and we used to, when we started out with this whole thing, we made jokes that we'll have boxes of this book sitting in our basement for the next 25 years and be giving them out as Christmas gifts, because we couldn't sell anything. But I wouldn't have even cared. I mean, at the end of the day, I would have been like, look at this. Like, I had something to do with this, But and my son thinks it's super cool, I didn't even tell you this, Joel. Today, my son, I was talking about the comic with him. Actually, he's going through his YouTube history, and I see Livid Comics, and I'm like, I hope he's not watching our show as we swear a little bit. But he's like, is William going to be a popular name now? Is everyone going to want to be named William after this? Maybe, buddy.
Just tell him you invented it. Yeah, no, you're the first kid named Will, man. Like, I don't know, people just copy me, It's like
little does he know, it was already one of the most popular names in the U.S. So
yeah, there was no monarchs in Europe with that name whatsoever in the past. I mean, just change his name to Bill just to hide his identity. So, it's cool how the kid minds work. And honestly, my girls, my son's a little too young to read. He's 4. But my girls will ask me questions, and I'm like, oh, crap, we need to fill that hole, right? And I'll be texting John. I'm like, John, the girls want to know why are there trees at the North Pole, right? Because you see trees, and so we're like, oh crap, we got to figure that out. So like, he's not really at the North Pole; he's kind of in between in a different dimension. So, but the kids are awesome about pointing out errors and continuity and stuff like that. So it's awesome, man. I love it. Yeah, it's a good thing. Yeah,
Nothing like
So
like a 7 or 8 year old saying, pointing out a plot hole, and you're like, wow.
Yeah.
Can't believe I
it's
didn't see
amazing
that.
what they connect. Yeah.
At least you got editors now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my wife helps edit too. She's really big into reading and novels and stuff. So she'll come in and be like, "Nah, you need to change this." I was like, "Okay," so, in a good way. Yeah, she's a good critic with that stuff. She's like, "That doesn't fly. You need to work on this a little bit." Or sometimes, she's really good. I'll just say like, "Oh man, I can't see this angle. Like, what should I do?" And she'll be like, "Well, put the camera down here at this shot." Like, and I'm like, okay, tell me. And then she'll get in the pose. I've actually dressed her up as Einar. I've done this, right? So she's like, I'm like laying on the bed. She's like up over me, like doing this kind of thing. I think the last reveal was like her pose for Einar. I was like, okay, that's cool. I got it, right? So, yeah, but she's got a mind for that too. So that helps. And yeah, she gets all this stuff too. And but she's been reading the books just because I've kind of dragged her into it. So she's picking up the novels that I pick up, graphic novels and stuff. So. Regularly through our rotation, like John and I are big Joe Hill fans, so she loved Lock and Key, Basket Full of Heads was great. She's loving Something's Killing the Children. I just got an exclusive variant cover for Nice House on the Lake, but I'm not letting her read it because you can't touch that cover. Like I paid some good money for that one. Like I was like just barely holding the thing, reading it. I'm like, okay, that one's going away.
I remember the very first novel I read. Was The Stand, Stephen King.
Oh, nice.
Not The Stand. Was it The Shining? Yeah, The Shining.
That's my favorite novel. That's my favorite book of all time. So
yeah.
Awesome.
It was a paperback, but it had a silver foil cover.
Yeah,
I stole it from my brother and never told him. But yeah, it's like I haven't read Joe Hill. I my reading habits aren't what they used to be.
That's tough.
I've always been interested in his work, and I did see the Netflix Lock and Key, and that was phenomenal.
The book kills it, dude. If you like that, you'll love the book.
Yeah.
You'll love the book. Yeah,
the show's good. The books are just they crush it, which is it's wild. But yeah, I would say Joe Hill has a more I think. It's more of a comic mindset, and actually, I want to talk to him so I can ask him about this because, I'm curious as to when he decides he should write a comic versus a novel because a lot of his novels would work as a comic book and vice versa. So, so he has a lot more, fantasy elements to his books. His Nosferatu book is a horror novel where. Kids get taken by this vampire, spiritual vampire, to Christmas Land, which, by the way, that would be my dream bucket list crossover with Yule to tie those two worlds together. But
Joe, if you're watching, Joe,
but all his stories they have that fantasy side to it. They go a little deeper on that than his dad would, but. It was the first novel I read besides, children's novels, but that's what made me want to be a horror writer was reading it. I was in like 7th or 8th grade, and I just remember sitting in my bed, with my little light underneath my blanket because my brother wanted to punch me for having a light on when he's trying to sleep. We shared a room. But
my girls do that too. Yeah, my girls do that.
Yeah. So I used to have the comforter over me, and I'd sit there reading this like massive book. And looking back, I don't know if I should have been reading at that age that particular book, but it's what got me into reading. So I wanted to write from that day. That's been my dream, is to write scary books. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. My wife's a big King fan. Yeah. She got probably about 50 of his titles on every one that comes out, and she reads them 5 or 6 times. And she's one of those freak readers that can do like a book a day. Like, it's like, oh my God.
This bookshelf behind me, there's two rows on this bookshelf behind me dedicated to the Stephen King books. So it's
There you go.
definitely. Anyways,
I got to say hello to him at like a New York City Comic-Con panel.
awesome.
They were doing a panel for the Gunslinger, the comic book version.
Nice.
So that was cool. It's like I said hi to Stephen King. That's good. I'm good.
Oh, that would be, I wouldn't geek out to too many people, but that would be a tough.
We're lucky because his house is like 3 hours up the road from here. It's not far.
Yeah.
Like you can go up to his house and so I used to work at a local comic store, over here towards the coast, and Joe Hill would come in and just talk with the kids and sign stuff, and he's super cool, down to earth dude. Like that's
Nice.
the vibe that we want to do, or at least I want to do, is like work with kids. Like I'm not on some pedestal, man. Like I'll come and doodle with you and sign books and talk comics, and I love it. It's awesome.
I can't imagine not having that passion for that stuff. Like I love every second of that. If someone actually cared enough about me to want me to sign something, or talk to me about the thought behind a story, like I'd be all about that. So,
I've done a lot of conventions, and my favorite part is always when little kids come up to the table and, oh, could you join me? Whatever, and just to talk with them and see they're like brimming with glee and happiness, and just like I love comics, and I love this character and not that character. And, it's like they're just so fun. They're just so fun.
I get to be a clown through my art. It's kind of cool. Like I'm a professional clown without the nose and the weird hair. Like I get to entertain kids with my art, so it's kind of cool, but not in a creepy way. So.
Not like Pennywise.
So,
exactly.
Yeah. I wanted to make so Carbon Master, Mr. Carbon Master. I don't know what he's asking, but he's looking for a Venom expert. There's no Venom experts here, but thanks for showing up. I think
I can talk a little bit. I'm not an expert on most things. I'm like most art. I'm somewhat good at a lot of things, but an expert at none. So,
the Venom movie was trash. I'll say that. Hopefully that doesn't get chairs thrown at me. I did not like the movie, but
yeah. Todd McFarlane made like at least $5 or $6 inventing Venom. I know that, so that's cool.
I did not know that.
Made a couple bucks.
Didn't Charlie Sheen used to drink Venom or something?
I was going to go to India.
Tiger blood.
I was going to go to India and do the cobra blood thing. That's what made me think of that. All of a sudden, like thinking of snake venom. I was going to drink the cobra blood in India. Yeah. I like the weird foods thing. I do that when I go international. So I do the weird food thing.
Nice. I can't do that, man. I wouldn't be able to go to overseas somewhere and you see some of the stuff like that comes out on your plate, like still moving. Like
I've had that. The drunken shrimp is interesting. Yeah. Oh yeah. The squid. Oh yeah, that's real, dude. Yeah. They take live shrimp and they put them into liquor and they pass out drunk and you eat them while they're alive.
Oh.
That's Hey, when in Rome, when's the next time you're going to do that? I'm like, what's going to happen? I'll end up, hugging a toilet bowl for the night. I mean, we've been there before. Who cares? Check mark in life, check it off. Yeah.
So you want to give the Kickstarter page a refresh, see if anybody pledged to it since you started here.
I don't think.
Hopefully, maybe it's always shot in the dark.
Yeah, not yet, but hey,
I wonder if this thing updates real time too. Sometimes I think it doesn't. Right? It's hard to tell.
It doesn't unless it's at the last 5 minutes or something. I forget.
Yeah.
But you have to refresh the page. That's my experience.
The other thing I've noticed too is a lot of these things are, I don't know if it's the same with your show, but you get so many views after the fact. There's a good, good amount of views that come in after it's posted on YouTube after it's all done. So
I mean, this is a good crowd of people that showed up today. Considering I just made the stream an hour and a half ago, whatever. It's like, but yeah, it's, a lot of people will check it out later, tomorrow, next day, whatever. Hopefully before the Kickstarter ends, and go check it out and pledge to it and all that. Is there anything we haven't covered that you want people to know about?
I think with you, we've covered, what we'd want to talk about. But again, if our YouTube channel is fairly new, we're only up to like 27 subscribers or something like that. And we're going to be doing at least weekly shows. So if you could subscribe to us, just look up Livid Comics on YouTube and subscribe. Like we said, we got Joe Bennett from the Immortal Hulk coming on Wednesday, and we'd love some interaction. So, we want, if you have any questions, let us know ahead of time. We're happy to ask our guest, but we're trying to build that up. So we want to give other indie creators exposure and really, help the community out like they've helped us. So
nice, 29. There we go. Nice.
Boom.
Yeah. Powerful Vance coming up on the rear there. 29. Mr. 29. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, I would say too, if there's people listening that are artists, writers, want to get a book out, maybe they don't have a book out, but they want to know how, like, we kind of want to hear from you if you're in those genres, like the horror, sci-fi, fantasy, thriller. Like I can't draw everything, right? And we have ideas, like I can't do it all. So we want to talk with people that are interested in maybe doing something like that with us. So they can connect with us on our channels and let us know what they're working on. We can at least take a look at it, try to help with what we can, and or share anything. I mean, I'm all about helping other people. That's my jam here. So it's not just myself. It's really, really about helping other people too, get their projects going too.
Yeah, I'll share.
Yeah,
I have people on Twitter reaching out, and I'll share your project. We only have 300 followers so far, but that's 300 faces that might not have seen it before. So
hey, it's usually like only 5 people at a time that see anything. So it's like, whatever.
It's algorithm. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Every little bit helps, and it's all every share and like and comment is always appreciated. And like, I appreciate you guys coming on tonight and talking about your project and talking about your what you got coming up, and it's great to see professional independent creators out there, and I appreciate you.
Oh, we appreciate you having us on. This is awesome. So
yeah, man, it's been cool, and I like your drawings too. Show us the drawings, Peter. Hold on, let's get there.
Let's go here.
There we go.
Yeah, I've just been dueling. I didn't have anything specific in mind, but
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
I know Joel can do that. Joel can draw and talk to people. Me. Yeah, I saw that in the middle of it.
Cat art.
Yeah. I can't draw while I talk to people. When I try to do that, it's like I'm so focused on the drawing. I'm like giving 1-word answers, and like good for you guys to be able to do that. I can't.
It actually keeps me more focused. It really does. Yeah. That's why I smoked a cigar, because I have to be doing something.
That's funny. I'm used to like studio environment, like when I was back in, I'm originally from New York. I've been a part of different studios, and there's always chaos going on or whatever, and you're talking to somebody and you're trying to get work done too. But I've done a lot of, before the internet, talking with artists on books I'm working on, and trying to pin down exactly what they expect from me as an anchor of their pencils and all that, and just spend hours and hours on the phone and getting work done. So this is it's sometimes I'm aware of it, but if I'm not aware of it, I actually achieve something.
Yeah.
But
awesome.
Thank you guys, and hey, thanks Vance, and thanks to everybody who showed up tonight. John, and who else do we have? We had Frog G show up, and Nefarious earlier on. So yeah, and especially thank you, John. Thank you, Joel.
Yeah, man.
This has been a treat.
Thank you.
So
I appreciate your time, buddy.
Great night, everybody. Oh, my pleasure. and we'll see you again next time.